Hello friends and fellow bibliophiles. I'm Kat of Kat's Novel Adventures. In today's video, I want to share with you what I read for GarbAugust 1.5 Wasted Weekend. This past weekend, Olly of CriminOlly hosted GarbAugust 1.5 Wasted Weekend, a whole weekend where you read trashy books. Well, I wanted to participate and I found myself a trashy book. But there are reasons why you should read a little trash. According to Michelle Dean, there are lots of reasons to read other than intellectual elevation. Relaxation is one. Keeping up with what everyone else is reading is another. And I wanted to keep up with everyone else this weekend, and so that's why I decided to read a trashy book. The book I chose was Politically Correct Bedtime Stories, Modern Tales for Our Life and Times by James Finn Garner. And what makes me even more excited about reading this book is I can count it for Folklore February. It will either count as a mood read or it could also count as a retelling. Let me share with you what this little book is all about. Once upon a time in the olden days, heavy-set middle-aged men would congregate in their elitist clubs, sit in overstuffed leather chairs, smoke air-choking cigars, and pitch story ideas and plots to each other. Problem was, these stories, many of which found their way into the general social consciousness, reflected the way in which these men lived and saw their world. That is, the stories were sexist, discriminatory, unfair, culturally biased, and in general demeaning to witches, animals, goblins, and fairies everywhere. Finally, after centuries of these abusive tales, which have been handed down unknowingly from one male-biased generation to the next, James Finn Garner has taken it upon himself, that's right, yet another man, to enlighten and liberate these classic bedtime stories and retell them in a way that is much more in keeping with the society in which we live today. I thought the stories were pretty funny. The stories that are included in this book are Little Red Riding Hood, The Emperor's New Clothes, The Three Little Pigs, Rumpelstiltskin, The Three Codependent Goats Gruff, which I thought was pretty funny, Rapunzel, Cinderella, Goldilocks, Snow White, Chicken Little, The Frog Prince, Jack and the Beanstalk, and The Pied Piper of Hamelin. Now, I will say not all of the stories are equally as funny. Some of them are funnier than others. I really enjoyed how he put a twist where characters who normally would not be friendly to one another become friends. Or in like Chicken Little, for example, the sky is falling and the fox comes out and encourages Chicken Little and friends to try to sue. But in order to do that, he's like luring them to his home. And then of course we find out that he's up to something not so good. In The Frog Prince, the frog really isn't a prince. He's some kind of a land developer. In The Three Codependent Goats Gruff, there is some struggle between the goats and the troll as to who really is at fault. And then also too, it was just the way, instead of saying Cinderella's stepmother, he says Cinderella's mother of step. Also, he does the same thing in Snow White. But just enjoyable, just a little twist, a retelling, very humorous. Something that, you know, you cannot really take very seriously. It was the perfect little book for the weekend. Another thing I found amusing about this book is the back cover. It has some blurbs from our famous authors of folk tales, fairy tales, and fables, and this is what they have to say about Mr. Garner's book. It's hard to believe that James Finn Garner could improve upon perfection, but he has. That was Hans Christian Andersen. Then we have, we were fighting between ourselves to see who would read it first. That was the Brothers Grimm. And then lastly, these stories are fables for our times. That was Aesop. I just thought that was pretty funny that you have endorsements for a book about their stories, and he's retold them and flipped them all around and made them silly. I really enjoyed participating in this GarbAugust 1.5 Wasted Weekend readathon. It was a lot of fun. I got to attend sprints on Saturday morning where I started off reading the little book, and I really just enjoyed finding out more about this whole trashy book project that Olly has going on at his channel. And he has a fabulous video about the 5 kinds of trashy books, and he explains really what they are. It's not so much that they're bad books. They could be really well-written books, but they don't require a lot of thought. Like, you don't really have to think much about what's going on in the novel or get really deep and find some profound meaning to what's being written. So I really enjoyed that video. I'll link it in my description below so that you can check it out. I also am now excited about possibly participating in his month-long GarbAugust readathon that he holds in August. I think that would be a great deal of fun as well, and I probably have more trashy books in my collection than I think. It's gonna be kind of fun trying to look through all my books, see what I have that would qualify as a trashy book, and then also keep my eyes open for picking some books up at library sales throughout the year until we get to August. Did you participate in GarbAugust 1.5 Wasted Weekend? If so, let me know what you read. Leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and as always, I appreciate you stopping by. In the meantime, stay amazing and be adventurous. And may your adventures lead you to possibly reading a trashy book.